morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with my dear friend, Caroline Chang. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Kathy.
So you guys, I love this woman, and we have so much in common, and we have so much wonderful things to talk about. And I know you will be inspired by her. Caroline is a beam of light and a high frequency teacher, guide, author, speaker, mentor, etc.
Yes.
And rock star, film star, star. That's a
I
joke,
have one fan and that's Kathy, that I'm a film star in her eyes.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay. Well, anyway, so Caroline, let's start with your journey from where you were not too many years ago to where you are now. Your journey started with going with the roller coaster of your son, 29-year-old son. Well, I guess it started when he was 27 or something.
Right.
That he became ill and you became despondent. And do you want to start there? And you don't have to tell the big story, but
Right. I'll go.
okay.
I get what you're saying, but
Okay.
in truth, my true awakening happened in 2007, which is actually 7 years before Kyle's transition.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And when I say, I have this, you know what someone said to me one time, a couple of times, when I use the word transition, they think of sex change operation. like some transition and no. So anyone listening that is physically orientated, when I say transition, I mean transition to spirit, meaning he left his body. He's not gone at all. But my actual the real awakening moment for me was in 2007, and it was from watching a documentary called What the Bleep on quantum physics. So that awoke me to the truth of oneness, and that was in 2007. Now in 2011, my son at 26 years old was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. So that is when my journey began with him. So, and he was diagnosed in February of 2011, and he was in the hospital. And interesting thing, he was 26. He was living on his own with his friends, enjoying life. My son was always very active. He played football in high school, never ill, pretty much ill a day in his life. So this was a real shocker for him to be diagnosed at such a young age with congestive heart failure. But he was born with a hole in his heart, a heart murmur, they call it. And it's very common. The doctors said when he was born that nothing to worry about. It will close on its own by the time he's 1 or 2. So in essence, what probably must have happened, because doctors still couldn't tell me why he was diagnosed with congestive heart failure at 26 years old, a very young, active young man. He did smoke. He did pick up that bad, because nobody in my family smokes, but he picked up that bad habit of smoking from his peers. So that was one thing. He didn't help his health. But I, as a mom, instinctively know that his heart issue came from the hole when he was born with a hole in his heart, and at some point the hole didn't actually completely close. I mean, in his tests, he had to have a physical to play football in high school. It wasn't detected. So, but even if it's just a microscopic hole in your heart, it can get infected even if you have a cold or the flu. So that's what must have happened. At some point when he had a cold, or his heart must have gotten infected, which made his heart very weak. So towards the end of that year, December 2000, well, actually it was November. This is interesting because on on the night before his birthday. His birthday is November 24th, and every 5 or so years, his birthday falls right on Thanksgiving Day. And in 2011, his birthday fell right on Thanksgiving Day. But the night before his birthday, so the night before Thanksgiving, he was feeling very weak, and I had to call EMT to take him to the hospital. And then I even remember the next day talking to him that morning. He's doing okay. And I said, "Do you want me to bring your Thanksgiving dinner to you? Because now it's his birthday. It's his 27th birthday and Thanksgiving Day all at once,
Yeah.
and he's in the hospital." And so I talked to him. He was sounded fine. And then I said, "Should I bring you?" And he's like, "Yeah, Ma, bring me Thanksgiving dinner and my birthday dinner." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm actually in the kitchen cooking when I get a call from the hospital. It was around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I had just spoken to him around 11. So I had just spoken to him a few hours earlier. He was fine. The hospital called me in a panic saying, "You got to rush, come to the hospital, have somebody drive you." I mean, they were freaking out. And I didn't know what to do. And I didn't have anybody to drive me. So I drove myself. And they had rushed him to the ER, or to the intensive care, and he was on life support. And so that, he was literally on life support. That was here in the Pocono Medical Hospital. The day after Thanksgiving, they medevaced him to Philadelphia, to one of the top 10 hospitals in the country for heart surgery and for heart transplants. So it was in Philadelphia. So they medevaced him to Philadelphia. A friend did drive me to Philadelphia, thank goodness, because I was in no position to drive. To be honest, on that ride, I was very quiet, and my friend that was driving me was trying to keep me, motivated and to bring me out of despair. I was just very, very quiet on that ride because I had made up in my mind on that ride to Philadelphia, if I wasn't bringing my son home, I wasn't coming home. I didn't say that to anybody. I didn't say that to my friend who was driving me. I just knew I wasn't coming home without my son. At that time. And so when the thing is, when I get to the hospital in Philadelphia's about 2 hour drive from where I live. When I get there, everything was the doctors there were like all upbeat. They're like, "Oh, he's going to be fine. Nothing to worry about." So totally different than what the doctors had said in the Poconos. And I'm like thinking, okay, well, he's at the right place. These doctors know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They gave me, nothing but hope. They're like, "Oh, he's going to be fine. No worries, no worries." So that's when I first get there. And so then he's still on life support. And I'm living in his ICU room. They have these like sofa chairs that you can pull out into a cot. So I'm literally living in his ICU room. And then I'll never forget the day. It was December 12th or December 14th. Or no, now I got the day. No, December 7th. Okay. So we've been there for about a week. And December 7th, the doctors asked me to come out of his ICU room, and they take me to a separate room to the side because they know that even the patients can hear what's going on. So even if they're sedated and unconscious, they know that the patients can hear what's going on. So they brought me to a room to ask me, could they take Kyle off life support? And they didn't think he was going to make it. So they changed their tune real quick. Within a week, they changed their tune. It was like, "Oh, he's going to be okay. Nothing to worry about." A week later, we don't think he's going to make it. I said, no. I said, no. I will not give my permission to take him off life support. And I knew when they were talking to me, again, I didn't vocalize it, but I was like, I'm not living through this. Okay, from my awakening in 2007, I knew that I was creating this scenario right here. the scenario I was living in that moment, I owned it. I knew I created it. But I said, this is where I get off the train. I'm not going to, and I went up to a quiet, because I knew the hospital inside and out, because I would do my exercise running up and down the stairs in the morning. So I knew the hospital, and I knew that there was this nice little quiet waiting room that nobody was ever in. Sometimes I would go up there and do work on my computer and whatnot. So I knew that, so that's where I went. I went to this nice quiet little waiting room where no one ever was. The only thing I could get my hands on was a bottle of over-the-counter sleeping pills. So I had the over-the-counter sleeping pills, a bottle of water, and a notepad, and I wrote a suicide note saying, my son is not going to bury me. I'm sorry. I am not going to bury my son. My son is going to bury me. And I wanted them to give him my heart. And so I took the bottles of pills. I laid down thinking, okay, this is it. I'm checking out of this dream, because it is a dream of my own creation. And, I know I'll have to come back and repeat it, if, it will be my sole choice to come back to repeat it. So it's not nobody's making you do anything in life ever. It's your higher self, your soul. But anyway, so I knew this. And so I'm like, I'm ready to check out. And then next thing I recall is being ER doctor is like shaking me, and I'm in the ER, and the ER doctor is shaking me, and then one of the pills must have fell or something, and he's holding, it was a blue pill, I remember, he's holding the blue pill in front of my face and said, how many of these did you take? How many of these did you take? And I'm serious, it was so funny, because what I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm not supposed to still be here. And this is a stupid question he's asking me. I didn't count the pills. So in full consciousness of knowing what I was saying, my response to him was 1. And then I was out again. I was completely out cold again. And then, okay, so then again, the next thing I remember after that, I was now in the ICU. So they had moved me from the ER to the ICU. And I remember Kyle's doctor, tall, Japanese. I mean, this guy was like 6, I mean, not 6, but what's it, 7'2" or something. I mean, really, really tall guy. Tall Japanese doctor, internist. His name was Dr. Tai. And Tai was his first name. And so I couldn't say his last name. But anyway, he's standing at the foot of my bed in the ICU. And he says to me, so I'm like half awake. I can half hear what's going on. He says to me, Kyle needs you. So when he said that, my thoughts were, okay, Kyle is still here, even though I'm not supposed to be still here, but Kyle is still here. So, and then there was a very nice, because it's a teaching hospital, and I do remember them sending a whole team of psychiatric students into the ICU where I was to ask me questions. And I kept responding, I don't want to be here. I shouldn't be here. I don't know why I'm still here. And then a very nice aide whispered to me after they left, don't keep saying that, they will commit you.
Oh, God.
I heeded her warning. So I stopped saying that. And then when my vital signs got well enough, I still to this day don't know what my body went through. I never looked up my medical records or anything. So, but when my vital signs got well enough, they transferred me to the top floor. And it wasn't really a psych ward, because they didn't really have a psych ward, but they transferred me to the top floor. They had me on 24-hour suicide watch.
Wow.
So meaning so they had an aide with me 24 hours. And many times it was a female, but a couple of times it was a male aide. So even if it was a male aide, if I went to the bathroom or took a shower, I had to leave the door open. But anyway, they also allowed me to visit with Kyle for about an hour a day. He was still on life support because I had never given my permission to take him off. And I remember the last time I had a supervised visit with Kyle, I whispered in his ear. I said, Kyle, get better so we can both go home. That night, Kyle heard me. And that night, Kyle pulled himself off life support. He pulled out the ventilator tube, he pulled out the feeding tube, and his vital signs were perfect. That same doctor, Dr. Ty, said to me, it was like he was never even sick. It was a true medical miracle.
Wow.
And within a week, he and I, or maybe it might have been a little over a week, maybe 10 days, he and I went home together. We went home together on December 30th, 2011, the day before New Year's Eve. And we got to ring in the new year together, just me and him. And I remember promising God that day, the day I brought him home, because remember, on the way to the hospital, a few days after his birthday in November, I was not coming home. I was not coming back to this house without him. But
Yeah.
I did. I came home with him. And I said to God, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I will never stop thanking you for this miracle. And I have kept that promise to God. So that was December 30th, 2011. I have never stopped thanking God for allowing me to bring my son home that day. And so 2.5 years later, in April of 2014, he got ill again and had to be rushed to the same hospital in Philadelphia. This time they brought him by ambulance. They didn't medevac him. But, and I said, as the ambulance was driving away, I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring him home this time. But I won't, God, I won't ever stop thanking you. I will never renege on that promise I made to God. And so he went through several things. He went through open heart surgery during that time. It was like a bridge. It wasn't a heart transplant. It was kind of like a bridge surgery to get him to have a heart transplant. The surgery itself went textbook, as they say. No complication. The surgery went perfectly. But a week after the surgery, because of the surgery itself and all of the blood thinners and all of the medications they have to have you on, an embolism erupted in his head. And that is how he transitioned. And you've heard it. I've never, ever, ever said that to anybody. Everybody knew that Kyle had a heart problem. His problem was with his heart. I never said to anybody it was an embolism that burst in his head, why he transitioned. And at the moment of his transition, I was at complete peace. I knew that he wasn't going anywhere. I knew it was a soul agreement that he and I had made. And I knew it was the perfect divine timing for his soul to leave his body. And so I was at complete peace. And what it was is I knew too that he stayed longer for me. He stayed longer to get me ready because he knew I had work to do. And I know all of this from my reading 2 years after his transition. On his birthday, I was gifted a reading by the amazing Suzanne Giesman, who you have had on here. And I knew when Kyle transitioned, I wanted a reading, but I wasn't going to look for a medium. That I put in my mind. I said, if I have a reading with a medium, that medium has to kind of come to me. And in a sense, she did, because I launched my podcast, Awake to Oneness Radio, 6 months after Kyle's transition. And I woke up in the middle of the night. My higher self said, just do it. Start the show. Start a foundation in his memory. And I did all of that. And I didn't know what kind of guests. I knew I wanted scientists because it was science that was my key to my awakening. So I wanted the scientists that I really admired as guests on my show. I never knew I was going to have a medium on my show, but one of my guests recommended Suzanne Giesman. So I went to her website, I checked it out. She was a guest on my show in May of 2016. Now, again, that year, so in 2011, Thanksgiving Day was on Kyle's birthday. And that's when we were in the hospital on that day. And now here, 2016, Thanksgiving Day is on Kyle's birthday again. So I emailed Suzanne about a week before Kyle's birthday. And I said, I'm thinking a lot about Kyle. His birthday's coming up next week. She emails me right back. I mean, like within 5 minutes. You know how busy Suzanne Giesman is. But she emailed me right back and she says, we're going to do a reading on his birthday. And I said, Suzanne, but that's his birthday. I mean, that's Thanksgiving Day. And I don't want to take you away from your family on Thanksgiving Day, even though that happens to be my favorite holiday and Kyle's birthday every 5 years. But anyway, she said she was told by Sanaya, because Suzanne is a medium and she channels her higher guides called Sanaya. Sanaya had already said that she was going to do a reading for a mom that has a son in spirit on Thanksgiving Day. And she didn't know who that mom was until she received my email. And when she received my email, she knew it was me. So Suzanne gifted me a reading on Kyle's birthday in 2016. And in that reading, amazing things happened that had never happened before with her. It's my first time ever having a reading, but she's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reading. And this Kyle literally tried to speak through her computer, and you can literally hear Kyle's voice on the audio from that reading. And you can also hear my dog Coco, who is also in spirit, who Kyle was holding at the time. Matter of fact, let's see, Coco's, oh, now Coco's pictures is not, it's usually right up here. But anyway, so Coco and Kyle, you can hear from spirit. And she wasn't trying to do an EVP reading, because there are people that specialize in trying to do EVP. She wasn't. This happened organically and natural. So it was just amazing. I didn't need any other readings after that, but I did have a reading with a student the next year on Kyle's birthday. I had a reading with Suzanne's student, Colleen Smith. She's another amazing medium. And she was a student at the time. So because she was a student, she didn't charge me. And I could hear the swooshing, because all through now, when I had the reading with Suzanne, I could not hear the swishing at all. She's like, you can't hear that? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, you'll hear it on the audio recording, which you can hear it loud as day. And now, but the year after that, when I had a reading with Colleen, I actually could hear the swishing.
Wow.
As soon as I heard the swishing, I was like, oh, Kyle's here. That's like Kyle's MO, you know. He's like, as Susan said, he was messing with the electronics. We got you. And he's like, no, but that's Kyle. Kyle will be oh my goodness, that is Kyle.
Well, the thing is, this is what I want everyone to understand, because you're saying it pretty fast.
Okay.
Okay. So Caroline has a very unique relationship with her son, where she can come up to a high enough frequency and he can meet her, and she is in contact with him. The mediums are picking it up. But right. She already, because of her experiences and who she is and her worldview of how it all works here, she is high vibe. So yeah. I want to make sure that everyone understands that, because these readings just validate that he is always around you, and he's bringing the dog too, apparently.
Yes. I think Coco has a mind of her own, because she jumped into other people, other children that are not related to me that are in spirit. She jumps in their picture. So that's Coco. Coco's like, I'm here, mommy.
well, at the IONS event in Salt Lake City, Caroline was one of the prestigious speakers, and I got to introduce her on stage. Yes. And she did show and share these recordings. Yes. That make it like you just go, oh my gosh. And the other thing that she just did another interview with Sean Lether for the IONS Hawaiian IONS group. Right. And she shared it too. Yes. So if you're interested, plus Plus, she does have a YouTube channel that
Right.
you can go to that somewhere on it is
Yes.
her.
Yes.
But when you hear this, you just go, wow, that's a strong connection. It's not
Yes.
even it. I mean, you want to validate the genius of the readers. I mean,
Right.
Suzanne
Right.
Giesemann is
Yes.
amazing.
She's amazing.
And
Yes.
but the connection with that you have with Kyle, and I'm sure he's like probably here right now.
No, he's probably here.
Oh no,
He can be in both places. And when we're in spirit, we can be in both. He's there. He's with you and he's with me right
yeah,
now.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, the
Yeah.
thing that's what I want everyone to understand is that you don't have to have had a suicide attempt in
Right.
order to connect, but you have to have the right attitude. And
Right.
really, truly, that's what I love about Caroline so
Mm.
much. I mean, this is somebody who looks at a total optimist and
Yes.
is looking about what trying to contribute to the upliftment of humanity, which
Yes.
is
Yes,
which
exactly
is
right
what
here. Yes.
yes,
It was
yes.
fun. I have to share this because you said she's high vibe, which I love people. I was called someone I had just met over the weekend when I was working on a project, and I just met them. They were a tech person, and they said, "Oh, you're high vibe," and I just like, yeah, he sees it, he recognizes it, but he was actually not giving it to me as a compliment. I took it as a compliment, but he wasn't giving it as a compliment. And I didn't realize that till later on, after, because he was like, I'm like, oh, I see. That wasn't a compliment. That wasn't a compliment in your eyes, but I take
Oh,
it as a compliment.
oh,
But,
oh.
and what I had just explained to you, my journey with Kyle, in this book, which is a collection of stories. It's called We Touched Heaven, and my chapter is named My Miracle on 34th Street. Now, the reason it's named that is because it was December 2011, Christmas time, and the hospital in Philadelphia was on 34th Street.
Wow.
So that was my miracle on 34th Street.
Wow.
But yeah. I actually, and I had a guest say to me one time, another great compliment was, he's like, "You're so bright, Caroline. You shine so bright. Next time I'm on your show, I have to wear my sunglasses." I was like, so I love it. Yes, because I am. I don't just speak high vibe. I do my best to live at that high frequency. And also, many people that study the communication between spirit and us through technology have said that for Kyle to do what he did, to actually speak through Suzanne Giesemann's computer, took a lot of energy for him to do that.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. That's why I wanted to compliment you, is that's how I see it too.
Yes.
That number one, your connection is remarkable,
Yes.
and that people can have that kind of connection with someone they love. It's not just even remembering them; you sense them if you're sensitive.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
Kyle even found my earring. Because I'm serious, because I know it was him. I lost this earring, and I thought I had lost it in hot yoga class. That's real, because I was like, oh, my earring. Okay. And I was like, these are my favorite earrings. I'm like, oh, if I lost it. And I even remember after class going all through on the floor, on the mats, looking for it and couldn't find it. It's like, okay, well, if I lost it at hot yoga, it's gone. And a week or two later, I just happened to be going into Kyle's room for something. And this earring, you know how the light switch, it was hanging on the light switch like someone just placed it there.
wow.
How the heck can an earring, so I don't know where I actually lost it, but I know Kyle found it. It's like, here, Mom, here's your earring,
Well, I have some earrings I'd like him to find for me. I put that in the comments of the Hawaiian Islands, but no one picked
Right.
it up.
Well, one of the other things that was really cool is I like to work out in the morning, and I needed a pair of sweat socks. And for something just told me, okay, look down in Kyle's, because Kyle's room is exactly the way he left it. And something said, go look down in Kyle's room for socks. So I was looking for used socks. He actually had a brand new pack of sweat socks in his drawer. And I wear men's sweat socks all the time. They're thicker and they're better. So I was like, oh goodness, this is great. Thank you, Kyle, for the socks. And in a reading I had with Colleen, she said, she says, Kyle's showing me socks for some reason. You can't, like, yes. Yes, I did. I thought and I told her, yes, Kyle gave me some socks that I needed. Brand new socks at that, too.
Oh, that's cool. I wear
Yeah.
men's crew socks too. I always buy men's.
Yeah.
They're bigger too.
They're bigger, they're thicker, they're better, and they probably cost less money than the women. You're getting better quality for less money. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay, so I also wanted to talk about something we have in common. That okay, so your show is called Awake to Oneness, and you and I both were worked with humanities team.
Yes.
I worked as a volunteer for 3 years and did their marketing plan for them that we did 10 years ago, and they're still using parts of it. So that's pretty cool.
That's
And
cool.
and you worked there too. And from that, did that help you with your definition of oneness, or I mean, did it give you words that you didn't have before?
In truth, I discovered Humanities Team, and Steve was a guest on my show, one of the first guests on my show when I launched my show in March of 2015. And so that was shortly after Kyle's transition. But my awakening to oneness, I mean, it wasn't an intellectual mind awakening. And you know my presentation, I talk about the difference between mind and heart. When I had my awakening, it was one sentence that woke me up from the heart and soul. And so oneness, I knew oneness instinctively from my heart and soul from that one sentence, which was Lynn McTaggart, who you guys should check her out. She has written some wonderful books. Lynn McTaggart said, the biggest problem in the world today is the illusion of separation. And when she said that, something literally woke up inside of me. So I was grounded in oneness, and then I found Humanities Team because I was grounded in oneness and looking for those things. And then I was always watching their Global Oneness Day. I had that on my calendar. I even tried to host a Global Oneness Day celebration at my house one time. Didn't get anybody to come to show up, but I was trying to. I even I had a banner made, Global Oneness Day, that year. So that was before I had met Steve and before I got connected with Humanities.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I wondered about that because it's Awake to Oneness, and
Yes,
I thought
the
maybe
number 2.
yeah. So I actually have pulled up your site, and I'd love to show it if you'd
Sure.
like to talk to it, because I
Yeah.
really think that my goal here is not only to have you guys learn about Caroline and see how she might fit into what you're doing as far as an articulate guest or a mentor or a helper in some way, but also so that you follow what she's doing, because we're in a time of choosing what we digest. It's not just the food you put in your
Body.
mouth, it's the content that you're allowing in your system.
Yes.
Because we are in a time of choosing the high road.
Yes.
And what Caroline does is she focuses on that aspect. So if you, I'm encouraging people to consider following you so that you
Sure.
will guide them to the high road in all the conversations, because we're
Yes.
not saying keep be an ostrich and put your head in the sand.
Not at all.
And be aware, but what
Right.
do you choose out of both,
Exactly.
right? So,
Exactly.
do you want to talk a little bit while I put this
Sure.
together?
Well, one of the things I love what you said too, because one of the things would be great if people want to check out my YouTube channel, because what I do, I don't just have my podcast on my YouTube channel, my interview, I don't do interviews. I do conversations with guests, but I don't just have conversations with guests on there. I have my vlog, which is just me sharing, but I also have just started recently in the last few months sharing. I love to create videos, so I've been creating inspirational message videos. So I create the video and there's a channel message with that video. I put that all together and I've been uploading that 2 or 3 times a week to my channel. It's all inspiration. It's all about inspiring people to wake up to who we are. So I'd love for people to check out the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and anytime I put an inspirational video, you'll get it in your inbox.
Okay, great. Well, I'll see if I can pull up the YouTube channel too. But here is Awake to Oneness Radio website, which is awaketoonenessradio.org.
Yes.
And if you want, I'll scroll. You tell me
Well,
what.
I have on there. I do offer a free mentoring session because I love to mentor, and then I also have. So I have the free mentoring. You can click on it. The free mentoring. Yeah. So I'm offering a free one-on-one mentoring session that anybody can contact me. They just fill out that short form. That'd be great. And then the other thing I liked, and I just updated it this morning, go over to free online events. I like to offer free online events this through Shift Network, and I have all these are the events that Shift Work. You can scroll down. It's a nice long list of free events that you can check out. And so, and I just updated that page this morning. Yes, I'm my own webmaster.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, again,
And if you want to get to YouTube, wait a second. Yeah. You can click on my YouTube right there. There's an icon for YouTube. It should be, yes, the first one. Click on that.
there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not showing yet over here.
That's the video we just did that has 50 views already.
All right. But no, we're not seeing it on this end.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, it didn't.
Okay, sorry. Let me see
okay.
if I can get StreamYard to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. But yeah, I just uploaded the presentation I did Tuesday night. I just uploaded as my featured video on YouTube because and then I can show you when you bring up YouTube, I can show you all of the inspirational videos that are on there as well. Yes. Okay. So the featured video is my presentation from Tuesday night. But if you scroll down just a little bit, you can see all of the videos that is keep calm. I'm trying to read. Everything you do impacts the entire world. All of these. And I talked a little bit the other night about the yoga, the solar yoga. So these are all a lot. Lately I've been doing more of these inspirational videos even than my show video, which I'm going to get back to doing my show video, but I really love inspiring. So I've been putting a lot of those up there. So great place to go to check.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, this is what we want everyone to know is that there's resources for you. Everybody's going through the chaos, the after effect of the shutdown, and now there's always a way to find bad news if you want to.
Well, one of the things, and I can testify to this, and anybody can go back to my shows from 2015 and hear me say in 2015, so long before 2020, I share that I was instructed by my higher self to turn off mainstream news in 2021. I mean, 2001. In 2001, because 2001, that's how we used to say it. Yeah, 2001. I turned off mainstream news and didn't know why, because I wasn't awake to oneness in 2001. And I literally asked my higher self, why? And I got no answer. I got no answer for 11 years. But as part of that answer was vibration. That the mainstream news media keeps you in a low, and it's deliberate. They keep you in a low vibrational state of mind, and they do it just before you go to bed. It's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Here on the East Coast, it's 11 o'clock, and I'm thinking most of the country, it's 10 o'clock news. But they keep you in this low frequency vibration as you're going to sleep, just before bed. Worst thing to do. And so that is why my higher self was preparing me even before I was awake, was preparing me since I was a child, to be honest, but preparing me to do the work that I'm doing now. And my higher self needed me not to be saturated with the low frequency of mainstream news. And so I have not watched a second of mainstream news in over 21 years. I'm very proud to say.
I could say the same, or maybe longer. My daughter used to complain to me that I got my news on Facebook. And when she first said it, it was like, oh, I guess I do.
Well, what I've been doing for the past, because people will ask me, people will say, if you don't watch the news, how do you know what's going on in the world? I said, I know what's going on in the world because I don't watch the news. But I'm like, I'm online all the time. And you're always getting, like, I used to have a different mail. I used to have Verizon mail. And every day I would go into Verizon mail. It has the top headlines come up. They scroll. And if I saw something, a headline that interests me, I can click on it and read about it. I don't have to have that news in my face to know what's going on in the world. But I truly believe I know what's going on in the world because I don't watch mainstream news.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because again, I want people to understand the hope that a bunch of us have about creating the new earth, that maybe it'll take us a little while to redo the systems, but the inequitable systems that are in place right now are going to collapse. They just have to.
Exactly.
And so what you've been doing, like on your radio show and on your beautiful YouTube videos, which are wonderful, you guys. If you want a little upliftment real quick, you can go. But what do you think this time period is for us? I mean, in a way to wake us up. How do you see it? Because I'm sure you're going to enlighten me.
Well, I'm so glad you asked me that, because my higher self, I say higher self, and for Christians, I say Holy Spirit, because HS, it's the same initials. My higher self, I've had, like I said, I have not just a strong connection with Kyle, but I have a strong connection with my higher self. I've always had. Like I said, it was my higher self in 2001 told me to turn off the news, and I had no clue why. And then in March of 2020, my higher self told me again in no uncertain terms, humanity awakening has begun. And I literally have been on top of the world since March 2020. And I've been on my eagle's perch, watching what's going. I can see everything going on in the 3D matrix. And I send it love and light. I send it love and light. I send it love and light. And I know that me sending the 3D matrix love and light is helping to heal everyone on the earth. But I have literally taken myself. I haven't left my body. I still have a body, but I have taken this body. I have taken out of the 3D matrix. I am in 5D New Earth right now, because 5D New Earth is a vibration. It's not a place, it's a vibration. And I know my higher self told me the beginning of humanity's awakening was the pandemic, and that pandemic was the catalyst. Just like I said, those words that I heard Lynn McTaggart said was the catalyst to my awakening. Something needed to happen to humanity to wake humanity up. And that was the pandemic of 2020 that we're basically kind of still in. I know Biden said we're no longer in the pandemic anymore, but I know that people are still being fired. You know, in New York City, just 2 weeks ago, there was 850 teachers fired because of body autonomy. It's their choice. So I won't say certain things because I know Facebook and YouTube doesn't like certain words. So I'm being careful not to say certain words. But yeah, there were people, just 2 weeks ago after President Biden said the pandemic is over.
Okay, so I'm going to switch us back a little bit because you said you realized even when Carl was passing,
yes.
Even when he was sick at the first point, that you were part of the co-creation.
Yes.
And so that's where I'd love for you to talk about how we co-create the fifth dimensional reality.
Yes.
Now, how you see that, because that's what I'm doing here too.
Yes.
As much as I can. And what I find is that I'm having to clear and do forgiveness, and it's not just forgiveness of everyone else; it's forgiveness here.
Yes.
So I just wondered what you see are things that we can do, or things that you haven't. You've got the insider track with your higher self. If you would share that, that would be fantastic.
Awesome. I'm glad you asked me. Yes, it's all about frequency and vibration. That's how, like I said, the 3D matrix is what I call, is at a certain frequency. The five-dimensional new earth is already here.
Right.
And it's a higher frequency. So anybody that raises their frequency can be there. And I actually do not use the term co-create, because co means two. And I know there's only one. Okay, we are all holographic aspects of God. We are not a piece of God. We are all of God in a cell, in a drop. Like Rumi's quote, you're not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. So I don't say I'm co-creating. I say I'm creating. I'm creating my reality. I'm not creating your reality, Kathy. You're doing that as a sovereign divine being of light that you are. You are creating your reality. I am creating my reality. And it is a virtual reality. It is as science has already proven, that we're living in a simulation. And each one of us, all 7 to 8 billion people on the planet, each one of us as sovereign divine beings of light are creating our reality and our experience. And I knew that when Kyle first was in the hospital and I was trying to take my own life, I said, I know I'm creating this, but I'm getting off the train here. That was my thoughts at that time. So yes, and it's all vibration. Everything, science has proven, everything I'm grounded in has been proven scientifically. I love it because science is over 120 years old. The science of quantum physics, which should be taught to children today, and it's not being taught. But science of quantum physics tells us that everything is energy. That energy is interconnected and interdependent. There's only one thing, and it's all God. What I love this symbol, the yin yang symbol, because that's the perfect symbol of God. We think of God as only being light. No, God is the light and the dark, because it's God in this realm, in this 3D matrix realm, just playing all of the roles. And so we're all God playing different roles. And I'm glad you asked about forgiveness, because that is so important. And it is all forgiveness is self-forgiveness, because that other is not separate from you. So if that person did something that you asked them to do. There's a great story in Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. I was just talking to Sean about this last night. There's a great story in Your Soul's Plan that talks about an old lady, old lady was dying in a nursing home, and the nursing home called her daughter to come while she was, before she passed. And so the daughter came, but the daughter was extremely resentful and angry at the mom. Just thought that the mom treated her terribly her whole life. So she pretty much let her mom, while her mom was still breathing, she pretty much let her mom have it. Say, you were the worst mother, blah, 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 And then the mother, because when you are transitioning, you have one foot in spirit and one foot here. And what the mother's last words and final words to the daughter was, I only was doing what you asked me to do. It's the truth. The people that treat us the worst, we from spirit, we ask them to do that. We ask them to do that to help wake us up. Like I said in my presentation, our greatest challenges are our greatest blessings. The people that give us the most heartache are our greatest blessings, because they're here to help wake us up, and they're only doing what we ask them to do. Nothing could happen to us without our soul's permission. Nothing can happen without our soul's permission. And so the book that I meant to show a picture of that book in the presentation the other night, it's called Your Soul's, I'm not sorry. You will read the story. You can read about the story I just shared about the mother and daughter in the book, Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. But if you read this children's book called The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh, the whole entire audiobook is on YouTube. It used to be on there. You used to have a version on there with Neil reading it, but that was taken down. But there is a very nice version on there with someone reading the Little Soul in the Sun. Please listen to that audiobook. I have that book. I bought it for my grandson. It explains exactly what we do in spirit before we're born. We look for other souls to ask to be mean to us. So when we forgive another, we're only forgiving ourselves. It's no separation between you and that other. And forgiveness is so important to raise your frequency. You can't raise your frequency without letting go of all of that baggage. We got to let that go.
Okay, so the part that's difficult about this for me, and I don't,
and many,
is that once you realize that you called them in and you process the pain, if you do it again, it means you're still got that attraction.
It's a residual thing. It's like you're on a hamster wheel. The same thing is going to keep happening over and over again until there is a heart and soul. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to forgive them from the mind. You can't. It has to be a heart and soul. You can't fool the universe. It's got to be a complete releasing of all that anger, of all that resentment, of all that hate. It has to be a complete releasing. Perfect. And when you're completely purged of those lower vibrations, you will feel it, you will know it, the universe will know it, and you will be off that hamster wheel. It won't happen again.
Perfect. Thank you so much, because I think that's where we are right now. Is we, as I said before, I feel we have a choice of picking the highest soul mission reality, the timeline. Yes. And if we're stuck in the gunky stuff from here, yes, like the pain and the victimization, yes, and the stories, right, that we've told that do not serve anymore,
They don't serve, not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
And
it'll hold us back.
and realize you cannot choose, say you're a victim and a creator at the same time. You can't. You're either one or the other. You're either creating your reality, you're owning it, you're creating everything that happens. Not just, a lot of people like to just, well, I create the good things, but they like to blame others for the bad things. No, you're either a creator being or you're a victim. You're
That's right.
not both. So
That's right.
choose which one you want to be.
Right, right.
You
And
consciously choose it.
when you showed that, when you talked about the yin yang,
Yes.
there's a lot of potency in that dark side when once it's integrated.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the symbol, it actually has a dot.
Yes.
Other colors. So there's a big connection.
Yes.
And what we're talking about right now is an opportunity for you to work with Caroline and get a different perspective. And she's offering a free session. I highly recommend. You'll find you'll be corrected in your language.
Because I spank her all the time. I love her. I got Kathy, let me spank you now.
No, not all the time. But
not all the time.
No, I think it is habit. I think we're using language that
Yes, it is.
that we're and I mean I do communications for a living, so I'm constantly wanting to learn how to be a better communicator.
Right. No, exactly. No, it is totally habit. It is totally. It's almost in the our emotions, our language, everything about us is we get addicted to it. And for us to truly make a change, we have to do something different, like meditation. I take care of myself. I try to take care of myself every day, physically, mentally, and spiritually, which using meditation, I journal, I drink a lot of water, which helps purify the body. I drink only 100% spring water to purify the body as much as I can. So doing those things, doing what really resonates with your heart and soul, and helping to purge out those old bad habits that don't serve us. Right. And that's how we change our lives.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
One moment at a time. Yes.
Perfect. So I want to make sure that people, we did show your website and your YouTube, but could you tell everyone again how's the best way to connect with you so that make sure they do?
Yes, the best way to connect with me is to go to my website, which is onenessradio.org, because I have all my social media links right there, and I just moved them to the top. Sean told me to do that. They were at the bottom, and Sean said, move those social media links to the top. So if you go to my website, you can find all my social media links, and you can check out all my shows are there. And like I said, I have offering a free mentoring session. And also I have a whole list that I keep updated weekly of free workshops and seminars and things of those nature.
Yes. So I seriously, you guys, this is a great opportunity that everyone would benefit. Everyone would benefit, even if you think you're fifth dimensional consciousness already.
I listen to it all. I listen to the messages that I create to share. I listen to them first every day. It's like, okay, this is a great one to share, And so, I keep myself tuned up by listening to inspirational messages. That's my news. That is my news.
That's my news too. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, and one other thing I want to say, that we are all light. At the core of our being, we're all love, we're all light. And what it is the light is transforming the dark back to light from which it came. So if you see that yin yang symbol, it's kind of like a swirl, because what it is the light transforms the dark back to light. And it's like a circle like that. So it's not about pushing against. It's not about pushing against and fighting the dark, because when you push against anything, you make it stronger because you're giving it your energy. So you don't want to give the dark your energy. You don't want to push against it. You want to send it love and light, because you want to transform the dark back to light from which it came.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, I celebrate you, and I'm so glad we're friends, and we're going to have even more fun coming up.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun together.
So, well,
Love
thank
you
you,
so much.
everybody. I just wanted to make sure everyone knows how powerful you really are, and this is a wonderful opportunity for you to upgrade what you're doing and see the heaven on earth that this reality really can have for you.
Exactly.
But use your power.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it's a dream of our own creation. So we can create a nightmare, or we can create.
That's right. Perfect. Yes. Celebrate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye for now.